of earthquake devastation from Afghanistan and flood havoc in Punjab, both in India and Pakistan. Natural disasters have been the biggest newsmakers in South Asia this week. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. Let's begin. It's a disastrous blow upon blow for Afghanistan. A deadly earthquake that ripped through the country's eastern provinces left hundreds of families and houses broken and buried. 1,400 is the official death toll put out. Reality suggests a number several times than that. For a nation already battered by poverty and crisis, this natural disaster adds a fresh round of pain to immeasurable suffering in the country.
Just about 30 seconds is all it took for the earthquake to cause this. The horror had struck minutes before midnight on Sunday. Aftershocks continued through the night and beyond. Jolts, big and small, continue to send out waves of panic. In remote mountain villages, families searched desperately through twisted metal and broken stone. Abdul Bashir escaped with his life. His nephew did not.
Suddenly, there was an earthquake and people were screaming. When we came out, we saw that my brother Amanullah Khan's house had collapsed. My brother's 3 children were buried under the rubble. The people who pulled them out knew they were dead. Now we are very scared. We are sleeping in the desert.
Entire clusters of villages stand wiped out, many still out of reach of rescue teams. In this remote, cut-off, mountainous region, time runs out for the hundreds who might have survived the quake itself. The 6.0 magnitude jolt struck just 8 kilometers below the ground. Scores of mud brick homes stood no chance. But raw numbers tell only part of this real-life nightmare.
It was such an earthquake that none of us were conscious. No one knew about the next house. Everyone was in their own trouble. It was a non-stop earthquake that started from 12 o'clock at midnight until 7 o'clock in the morning. And there were such tremors that no one could move from their place. No one could go to another house and find out what had happened.
Rescue efforts face massive constraints. The mountainous terrain blocks access. Landslides triggered by the quake cut off roads. Communication networks collapsed.
We urgently call on humanitarian organizations to step in and provide immediate support so the residents of the affected areas can be protected from further tragedies. Humanitarian organizations are also urged to assist in preventing the spread of communicable diseases in the affected areas.
The world responds as best as it can. India has dispatched 1,000 family tents to Kabul and 15 tons of food material to Kunar. Taliban authorities have set up camps to organize supplies and coordinate rescue efforts. But the need vastly exceeds the help arriving. The United Nations warns of the bigger impact of this disaster over several years to come. The issue also lies in Afghanistan's basic vulnerabilities, economic and geographical. Afghanistan sits where 2 massive tectonic plates collide. The Indian plate crashes into the Eurasian plate. This region has suffered devastating earthquakes for centuries. Poor construction makes every tremor a potential catastrophe. Powerful earthquakes in 2022 and 2023 killed more than 3,000 people in Paktika and Herat provinces. The latest disaster strikes a nation already on its knees. Afghanistan faces what aid workers call a catastrophe within a catastrophe.
I think what is important to remember is the context of Afghanistan, and this is a crisis within a crisis. If you look at the multiple shocks that Afghanistan has absorbed just this year, we've had over 1.7 million Afghans returning from Iran and Pakistan this year. We've had a drought with very, very low rainfall, impacting 70% of the population, which is agrarian and relies on agriculture. And on top of that, devastating funding cuts for the humanitarian and basic assistance programs in this country.
In Afghanistan, disasters never strike alone. They compound existing poverty, conflict, and weak governance. Natural hazards become human tragedies. The immediate focus remains clear: finding survivors, treating the wounded, and providing shelter for those who have lost everything. The earth may shake, walls may crumble, but the human spirit has to endure. In Afghanistan, it must.
Nature's fury has taken a different horrific avatar in other parts of South Asia. Cloudbursts, landslides, floods. Monsoon rains have unleashed devastation across large parts of Pakistan and northern India. And focusing more closely on Punjab, where nearly a quarter of Punjab in India and close to a fifth of Punjab in Pakistan are underwater. The crisis crosses borders.
Kartarpur Sahib, a shrine held sacred on both sides, is underwater. The symbolism and irony of natural calamity not knowing political borders captures the crisis both sides of Punjab in India and in Pakistan are facing.
The Pakistan Army is here, and Deputy Commissioner Narawal is with me. Iqbal Sahib is also with me. Together, we rescued our Sikh brothers and brought them back safely. Our volunteers also helped rescue Christians, Muslims, Sikhs, and Hindus. Everyone was rescued. Now, our last rescue team has gone to check the remaining areas.
On the Indian side of the border in Punjab, the story is just as grim. At least 30 people dead, more than 350,000 affected. All 23 districts are declared flood hit. Rivers and reservoirs have swollen dangerously. 20,000 people have been evacuated. Hundreds of relief camps have been opened.
Crops are damaged, the water took away everything, and it's still standing.
Officials say this is the worst flooding in the state since 1988. Over 148,000 hectares of farmland have been destroyed, a major blow in a state where 1 in 4 people depend on agriculture. Rescue teams work against massive weather challenges. The Army, Air Force and Navy have joined state forces. 35 helicopters and more than 100 boats are working round the clock.
The loss is such that landowners, farm owners will not be able to recover for 3-4 years.
Across the border in Pakistan's Punjab, the impact is even larger. Over 850 dead since end June, more than 750,000 people forced to flee their homes. In Lahore, the overflowing Ravi River has inundated entire communities. Sialkot saw record rainfall in 24 hours. Crops of rice, maize and vegetables wiped out.
As you can see, our homes have collapsed, the walls have fallen, and everything is damaged. Our family has had to leave the house. The flood has caused serious hardship and heavy losses. We've taken our animals and moved to the other side, away from our home that was hit by the floods.
For families already struggling, the damage is crushing. Pakistan's breadbasket province has lost harvests worth millions. 40% of people already live below the poverty line.
Children fall ill in the smog because of the extreme cold, and some become sick due to the unsanitary conditions. There's a lot of filth around, and after this, flood drinking water is completely unsafe. When we turn on the tap, the water comes out dirty and contaminated.
Doctors warn of rising trauma and disease.
There are a lot of patients with psychological trauma. Their homes, family, where they were happy, are all gone. All their savings are gone. More than physical diseases, I can feel psychological trauma. One can clearly see the pain and trauma they are going through on their face.
Both sides accuse the other of poor water management. Disputes over flood waters add to the misery of those already misplaced. The disaster will find resonance in multiple areas of life and industry, and the echoes aren't dying out anytime soon.
The Indian government has unveiled sweeping tax cuts under the goods and services tax to boost consumption. The GST Council has slashed rates on more than 100 consumer items, ranging from soaps and shampoos to small cars, air conditioners and televisions. The sweeping tax changes will impact both households and industries. Essentials such as groceries, medicines, personal care items and even cement and small cars will now cost less. At the same time, the Council has raised levies on sin goods like tobacco and fizzy drinks, and on luxury products such as SUVs, yachts and private aircraft. On to the biggest geopolitical developments of the times. The US-India breakup over inflated tariffs imposed by Washington. That story, it seems, is far from over. The US continues to send mixed signals to New Delhi. One message praises the partnership, another message brands India a threat. The contradiction exposes America's strategic confusion.
Two arms of the US government, two different stories about India. The embassy celebrates friendship, the White House threatens punishment. The mixed messages reveal Washington's deepest dilemma about New Delhi. This is the message on X that kicks up fresh confusion on the US stand on India. The US Embassy in New Delhi terms ties with India a defining relationship of the 21st century. The tweet celebrates shared progress in innovation, defense and bilateral cooperation, urging people to follow the hashtag US-India-Forward for our people. The US Embassy also quotes Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Rubio refers to the enduring friendship between the two countries as the bedrock of cooperation and key to realizing the tremendous potential of India-US economic ties. Note the timing of the social media message. Minutes before the Modi-Putin bilateral, as the two travel in the same car for the talks, and soon after, Prime Minister Modi shared warm moments with Russian President Putin and Chinese President Xi as they met on the sidelines of the summit. The three exchanged smiles, handshakes and hugs, and a rare display of camaraderie. The big picture, Modi has begun resetting ties with China while strengthening relations with Russia. The Shanghai Cooperation Summit showed India's comfort with both Beijing and Moscow. Is America worried? Donald Trump's trade counselor Peter Navarro has launched repeated attacks on India and Prime Minister Modi. Navarro has repeatedly accused New Delhi of bankrolling Russia's war in Ukraine by buying discounted oil. He warns that India's deepening economic links with Moscow and Beijing threaten global stability. Navarro has even branded Ukraine Modi's war. He calls India a laundromat for the Kremlin. So, it's one country, two contradicting approaches. The conflicting signals expose Washington's fundamental confusion. America wants India as a strategic partner against China, but it demands India abandon Russia completely. For India, the mixed messages raise clear questions about American commitment. The partnership faces its biggest test in decades.
In Nepal, a landmark Supreme Court ruling has upheld the age-old tradition of ascetic monks or the Naga sadhus. The Supreme Court of Nepal has dismissed a petition that sought to bar naked ascetics from entering the revered Pashupatinath temple in Kathmandu. While the plea had argued that the nudity disturbed other devotees, Nepal's top court has ruled otherwise. The court observed that nudity, when rooted in religious or cultural practice, is not offensive by itself. The verdict also emphasized that denying entry to the Naga sadhus would violate constitutional and international guarantees of religious freedom. Hailing the decision, Naga sadhus say that the ruling affirms their right to worship in accordance with their beliefs.
Since ancient times, on the invitation of the king, Naga sadhus have come here to Pashupatinath. They stay inside the main temple for 5 days during the Shivratri festival in their natural attire without disturbing anyone. The public may worship them if they wish. It is simply a tradition.
It is a good decision. Naga sadhus do not walk nude. They follow their own discipline within their culture and tradition.
Naga sadhus are considered the most ardent devotees of the Hindu deity Shiva. Every year during Mahashivratri, hundreds of ascetics and monks visit Kathmandu's Pashupatinath temple and other Shiva shrines during the Mahashivratri festival. Many sit unclothed as an expression of devotion to Lord Shiva. Our next story highlights a unique women's empowerment initiative in Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan women working in the hotel industry have been largely limited to roles as receptionists or in housekeeping. However, there is one hotel that is breaking these barriers. This hotel has a unique selling point. It employs an all-female staff, making it the first of its kind in the island nation.
On the shores of Lake Kandalama in the green hills of central Sri Lanka sits the Amba Yalu Hotel. It has become the talk of the town for its unique initiative. For all the 33 rooms of the hotel, a team of 75 enthusiastic women handles every task, including those traditionally perceived as for men, such as security. Designed to promote women in a tourism sector where men hold up to 90% of hotel jobs. The idea for the hotel sprouted following the twin blows of COVID-19 and the 2022 financial crisis. The subsequent political unrest, which toppled the then president Gotabaya Rajapaksa, only exacerbated the already grim scenario. Even when there were employment vacancies, men were the preferred choice. But it was the owner of Yamba Yalu and hotelier Chandra Vikram Singhe who led the change.
But unfortunately, Sri Lanka in the hotels, there's gender equality there, nothing like that. Less than 10% work in hotel industry, especially in the villages like this. Villagers, ladies, they think that they have to do something, you know. Even men's society, they always think work in a hotel, those days we thought only one reception, nice girl in the reception and housekeeper to clean. So I want to go further.
The combination of factors are responsible for gender inequality in the Sri Lankan hotel industry. Lack of formal training, a culture where women are first and foremost viewed as mothers, and extremely low wages which inevitably give rise to the perception that women may as well stay at home. Old habits, as they say, die hard, and in this case as well, misogynists initially scoffed at the idea of an all-women team, but their doubts were shrugged off by the owner. The enthusiastic bunch, with a point or two to prove, now want to set an example for the future generations to emulate.
And if they tell that this is a good opportunity for women to demonstrate their talents as to showcase our skills and courage to the new generations as well as to the world.
Generally, in the engineering field of Sri Lanka, it's mostly men who are involved. Many people think that it's difficult for women to handle engineering work, especially maintenance tasks. But from the day we joined the hotel, we were given good training. So with proper training over time, we can also carry out these tasks just like the men without any problems.
Noteworthy is the fact that Sri Lanka was the first nation to elect a woman as a Prime Minister, Sirimavo Bandaranaike, in 1960. But tradition, culture and the labour market continue to block women's rights. Interestingly, women play a dominant role in sectors which provide the country with its main sources of income, namely textiles, tea and foreign remittances. For decades, women in Sri Lanka have been treated as an exploitable community. The Ambayalu, a truly path-breaking initiative which has made a good impression on the customers, is a significant first step which accords dignity to female labour.
Now let's tell you about the 82nd edition of the Venice International Film Festival, which started on the 27th of August. Every year, the 10-day celebration of cinema in the city of Canals attracts a cavalcade of A-listers from the world of cinema. This year, finding acclaim amidst the pantheon of great filmmakers are entries by a terrific trio of female Indian filmmakers. As we wrap up, take a look at India's shining at Venice Film Festival.
The 82nd Venice International Film Festival kicked off on 27th of August, rolling out the red carpet for who's who of world cinema, who arrived fashionably by water taxis. Big budget films as well as smaller independent works here were showcased, keeping in mind the significance of the Italian Film Festival as a key launchpad for cinematic success worldwide. The debut feature of Indian filmmaker Anuparna Roy, interestingly titled Songs of Forgotten Trees, is the only Indian film this year to be screened in the prestigious Orizzonti section, where it received an overwhelming reception. Presented by Indian filmmaker Anurag Kashyap, the debut feature explores evolving relationship between two migrant women, ostensibly from two vastly different worlds, showing a flat in the maximum city of Mumbai. Another promising female director, Nidhi Saxena's Secret of a Mountain Serpent, which is a co-production between India, Sri Lanka and Italy, and has been described as a lyrical exploration of female desire, received much praise when it was showcased in the biennial college cinema section. Completing the hat-trick for Indian female filmmakers at Venice this year is Indra Dhar Mukherjee, whose Echoes of Valor were screened as a private closed-door showcase last Sunday. But it's not only the contemporary fare that is the highlight for India. The 4K restored version of acclaimed Indian filmmaker Bimal Roy's classic 1953 film Do Bigha Zameen, which left an indelible mark on Indian cinema, had its world premiere in the Venice Classics section. The Indian cinema is having a glorious golden hour at this year's Venice International Film Festival, where, to quote the Indian filmmaker Anuparna Roy, it has carved up space for its distinct stories told on its own terms.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
This week on the West Asia Post, Iran is turning to China, seeking to rebuild its missile arsenal after the war with Israel. Yemen's Houthis are striking back hard, launching what they call revenge attacks on Israel. And inside Israel, reservists are being called up again for a war that is tearing the nation apart.